There are two questions that I get all the time from real estate investors. The first one is, how do I find deals, or how do I find more deals? The second one is, how do I get funding for those deals? Well, I've got you covered. I've created a program that will help you find all the deals you could ever want, and also how to fund all of those deals. It's called the Real Estate Find and Fund Blueprint. That's right. It's a blueprint that will teach you how to find those deals and how to get them all funded. If you go to findandfundblueprint.com, you can check out the details. You can get signed up. It's a 4-week program. I have designed it specifically to make sure that you leave that program with 100% confidence that you can find deals and get them all funded. It's by far the biggest problem that real estate investors have, and they've always had this problem, and I'm here to solve it for you. I want to get right down into it. We're going to get into the weeds and talk very, very specific about finding deals and getting them funded. Go check it out. Findandfundblueprint.com. I can't wait to see you. When this is over with, like, what do you hope people walk away with? Like, what is it that they should expect to take away from this entire 3-day event, like at a high level, right? We just talked about some of the specifics, but what do you hope people, the feeling what do they get out of this for 3 days?
Yeah, I think there's three things. I think there's the tangible and the intangible primarily. So of these three things, there's probably one is and it's not to be overlooked. It is probably the most important thing, but it's just it's belief. Like, that's it. That a successful investor and unsuccessful investor, the difference is belief. Like, one believes in themselves and that it's possible. The other one is questioning their ability, that they can't do it. The belief in themselves and this business, frankly. So You will see social proof, and a lot of it, that it's possible. And what I love about real estate is it does not discriminate. It doesn't matter how old you are or how young you are. It doesn't matter the color of your skin, whether you're a man or a woman. None of that matters. It does not matter. Anybody can make money in this business that applies themselves, put in the time, the effort, the energy, all that stuff. And it does not discriminate. I've seen people who are complete introverts. I've seen people who are massive extroverts. I've seen all different types of personalities. I've seen all different types of races, ethnicities, sex. Like, it doesn't matter. It's so cool to see that. I think that I know who's going to be successful and who doesn't. And just when I think that I can figure out crack the code on it, sure enough, I'm wrong.
You're listening to the Just Start Real Estate Podcast. If you're serious about your real estate investing business and need real answers, you are in the right place. And now, your host, Mike Simmons.
All right, thank you for joining me on Just Start Real Estate. I'm happy to have you here. I'm happy to be here with you. And I'm really excited to bring you my guest today. He's a good friend of mine. He is an absolute rock star in the real estate investing world. Everything he touches seems to turn to gold. He's somebody you should be paying attention to. His name is Bill Allen, and he also is in charge of and runs the 7-figure flipping mastermind, which includes Flip Hacking Live, the only public event that's open to the public that 7-figure flipping does. He does it once a year. It's a huge event with really, really, really amazing investors presenting and delivering content that is just mind-blowingly great. I am going to be presenting at this event, so I guess I'm sort of patting myself on the back by saying that, but really everyone who's going to be there, everyone presenting, everyone who's going to get on stage is going to blow your mind with how freely they give information out, how freely they share with you what they're doing in their business from A to Z, how they're successful, why they're successful, and give you the tools you need to implement those things in your business. And I wanted to have Bill on to talk a little bit about who's going to be talking at Flip Hacking Live, the kind of information that's going to be shared, and why I really think you need to be there. The event is in Orlando. It's October 14th, 15th, and 16th. We're going to give you some information toward the end of how you can get tickets, and also a little bit of a teaser. There is a special coupon code for you guys, my listeners, that you can't find anywhere else. You really, really need to put that code in when you buy your tickets, because you're going to get a much different buying experience than everybody else. So check that out at the end. But guys, I'm not going to make you wait any longer because this is somebody that I've just had a lot of fun interviewing, and I think you're going to love everything he has to say. So here we go. His name is Bill Allen, and I give you him and the Flip Hacking Live experience that we talk about. All right, here we go. All right, Bill, thanks for being on the show, man. Thanks for being back. I appreciate it. It's always awesome to have you here. So thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to be here. It's been a while since we've jumped on this podcast together. So I'm ready to spill the beans, give the goods to everybody.
I know, it's funny. We talk a lot. I was just on your show, the 7-Figure Flipping Podcast. You guys should check that out. He had some great people on there recently, so go check it out. But we talk enough. It's funny. We do this, and I feel like I want to ask you things that I sort of know the answer to a little bit. So it's always kind of weird when you interview friends, right? Because we talk enough that I kind of know what's going on in your life. But there's something exciting to talk about now. You've been on this show many times. Around this time of the year, you're on quite often, and this year's no exception. But I think this year's a little bit different in my mind, and I'll say why. But real quick, let's just catch people up on just who you are briefly. Let them know who you are, where you come from, why they should care, and why I have you on every year.
Yeah, my name is Bill Allen. I met Mike at the first ever 7-Figure Flipping meeting in Dana Point in 2016, I think it was. So I was a Navy pilot. I flew helicopters and airplanes for the Navy. I'm in my 19th year. I'm a reservist now. I did almost 15 years of active duty, and then I went in the reserves. And I got into real estate probably 7 or 8 years ago and was just flipping one house a year. Joined the group. I remember seeing Mike there, and he's doing huge things. They talked for like almost like a whole day, and I was just filling up a notebook and just a sponge in that group because I'd only done one house each year the 2 years before that. And that first year I did 67 houses. 12 of those were flips, 55 wholesale deals. And then I did 135 the year after that, 187 after that. And then we did over 200 the past couple of years. So I probably wholesaled or flipped about 750 or more houses at this point. Have done a lot of hard money loans. I love to lend money out in my IRA and 401k to some of our members. And then we've done some apartment syndications lately. So gotten a little bit bigger. I was a limited partner in that for a while, and now a general partner in some deals. And I bought the 7-Figure Flipping company about 2 years ago. And Mike, as a lot of you guys probably know, is highly involved in that, along with a few other people that are on my board of directors, just absolutely amazing folks that I've been able to bring in and surround myself with. So now I spend most of my time running a mastermind program for our 7-Figure Altitude, 7-Figure Runway groups, and the event that we're probably going to talk about today, Flip Hacking Live. So that's kind of my world. I have 3 little kids. I just bought a farm behind my house. I run a farmer's market there, and we have 3 horses, 67 chickens, and a couple acres of produce. So I don't know. I'm really enjoying life now and hanging out with some really cool people and trying to just continue to do as many deals as I can.
Yeah, it's just so funny. If people knew you, okay, so let's dial back for just a second. Dana Point, 2016, January of 2016. We meet, and we're in a room it's a mixed bag. It's like I was there with my partner, Mike. We were doing a deal or 2, maybe 3 in a month. That was a pretty average month for us. People just doing all different various levels of deal volume. And Bill was there, and like he said, he was just doing kind of a deal here and there. Wasn't a lot of volume at all. And I liked him. We sat next to each other. I'm pretty sure we were sitting next to each other, at least for part of that time. And definitely liked you, but didn't really give you a lot of thought. You weren't doing much volume, right? But you did actually. It's funny. I've told this story a lot. I don't know if I've told it on here necessarily, but for a guy who wasn't really doing much volume at all, you just asked me a question. You just casually said in a break, who are you using for postcards, and what does it cost you to mail? And kind of we're trying to pick my brain to try to get probably better pricing for what you were doing. And I said, I think I was paying like 56 or 58 cents per card or something. And you were like, oh, okay. And I said, well, how much are you paying? And I think you were paying like 34 cents or something. And I was like, wait a minute. I'm sending out 10,000 of these a month. Like I did the math, and I'm like, this dude just made me $25,000 this year, and he's not even really, he didn't hit my radar as somebody I needed to pick their brain. And then, as time went on over the next few years, you just blew past me. Like, your business grew exponentially, and you eventually grew that into something just humongous. So, intensely and incredibly smart guy, a good friend, and someone that I look up to in business. I just think your drive and your passion for what you do is amazing. Everything that you get involved in becomes much better. You mentioned buying 7-figure flipping. So that's what we're talking about. We were at this meeting for 7-figure flipping. It was the very first meeting. You were probably the least experienced person in the room, who ended up a few years later buying the company and taking what I think was already an incredibly valuable company and really valuable to the people in it. And to my surprise, even knowing you, I underestimated the fact that it could be taken over and vastly improved. And I think it improved by leaps and bounds. It's not even close to the company that you bought. And I think it's, 10 times better. So I continuously watch you start new things and then proceed to dominate it. So very cool. And that's all recorded. That's the longest I've ever spent giving you props. But man, you deserve it. We give each other a lot of crap. We're good friends. So it's fun. And we do that on these podcasts from time to time. I give you crap and tell you how much younger I look than you, because now you're gray like me. So I can maybe pull it off. But tell me a little bit about
hang out with Mike Simmons too long, because your hair will turn gray also, just like mine.
I know, it's true. You were totally not gray, and now you're totally, well, you're not totally gray, but you're a lot more gray than you were. So tell me a little bit about, Flip Hacking Live, you mentioned that it's coming up. It happens in October this year. It's October 14th through the 17th. It's in Orlando. After having a year of everything being virtual, people's 9 to 5 being virtual, and certainly events like this were virtual, we did it virtually last year. The Flip Hacking Live was virtual. And I think we did a really great job of what it was. It was a virtual event, and by definition, you're not shaking hands and you're not mingling with people in person. But we created what I think was a unbelievable, successful event. But I will say, it's in person this year. It's live again. And I just don't know that you can completely match the value and the experience that you get when you're in person when it's virtual. I think virtual can be amazing, but I think now that it's in person, people are excited. I'm excited to be there. I'm excited to be around everybody again. And this event is going to, I think, take it up a notch from what it's even been in the past with the speakers that we have. And I want to touch on some of them and what people are going to be presenting. But what I will say this, what I think, and the reason why I even have you on here, Bill, because I feel like I'm fairly protective of my audience. I don't like to promote anything that I don't think is just killer. But the thing about Flip Hacking Live that I always go back to when people ask me what it's about, why they should go, here's why. When you go, you get an actual plan, a blueprint. People are presenting things that they're doing in their business, and they're not giving you high-level concepts, and they're not giving you steps A, F, and Z. You're getting content. You're getting a presentation. You're getting actionable stuff that you can literally take that and put it into your business the next day and start implementing it. Because the big thing that I know you're big on when you talk to the people that are going to be presenting is, listen, are you going to give them everything? Like, are you going to give them the whole burrito, or are you just going to, hit on the highlights? Like, I need them to be able to take this and it's assembled in a way that they can actually use it the next day. And that's what I think is the value here. It's not a lot of people getting up there just teasing you with things that they're great at. They're giving you the actual formula, the actual playbook, the actual blueprint to put it into your business and make it work for you too.
Yeah. And that's what struck me. So this is our 6th year doing this event. So I remember the first year that I went, I was just shocked with how open everybody was. We had about 100 people there in San Diego, and maybe 100's an overstatement. It seemed like a very big room at the time when I was in there, but now looking back at the videos and stuff, it's actually very small. It's like 5 rows of chairs, like three kind of sections wide. It was pretty small, but I was shocked. I remember Doug gave a presentation about his follow-up system, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is the exact blueprint of a follow-up system that produces like half of the guy's deals, and he's doing a ton of deals. Yeah. I was just shocked at how much people were giving away, like just giving away the farm there. And so ever since then, that's what this event has been about. It's just open it up one time a year, share everything, and don't hold anything back. I think that's, in buying the company, I've kind of been able to carry that on, which has been really good, which I'm thankful that that's what I saw from the beginning. And this event is very much content rich for wholesalers, flippers, anybody in real estate, frankly. If you're an Airbnb buyer, landlord, all those folks, there's some great tactics and techniques in there. And there's also a lot of great connections to be made as well. Like you mentioned, the in-person versus virtual. 3 months before our event last year, I had to make a shift from in-person to virtual. And I'm glad I did, because we wouldn't have been able to have it in Orlando. But I had to make a tough decision. I was like one of the only people holding on in 2020 to their live event. And I thought it would be okay in October, right, of last year. Like everything would be fine. It was the summer. We were like, oh yeah, this wave will be over. Yep. And so we went virtual. And I think that, like Mike said, we did the best that we possibly could. And it was an amazing event, no doubt about it. But there's something intangible at events that you can't recreate. And that's the connection. And actually, like the belief that changes sitting there and seeing that person walking, like bumping into somebody in the hallway or the elevator that you thought was like big time because they were on stage, and you realized you probably have it all figured out even more than they do, but they're doing 100 deals and you're doing none. Yeah. And that's the difference, because even in a virtual world, they step on the virtual stage and they step off. Here, they're around, they're accessible, they're there. So that's a little bit of the difference, I think. And you never know who you're going to meet in the audience and bump into or sit next to or talk to or have lunch with, those kind of things. It's a big difference in a live event versus a virtual event. So, and I know a lot of people are ready to kind of just bust out of their house and go live. And some people still have some anxiety around that and just aren't sure. So we're definitely sensitive to all of that as well. But we're putting on a live event, and the people that are ready to bust out and come, I'm going to invite you to come, because I'm going to be there. I'm going to a live event next week that's going to have a lot more people than ours. And I'm really excited about it. I've been looking forward to this, and I'm one of those people that wants to bust out of their house and get back to it. So.
Totally. Yeah. You mentioned you don't know who you're going to meet. It's funny, at Flip Hacking Live, we've legitimately had people meet and become partners and then create a successful business. We've had people sit in the audience, completely green, absorb the information, go out and create a successful business, and then later join Seven Figure Flipping, frankly, because they want to actually propel themselves and take it even to the next level. You made a special announcement. My sense of time is horrible because I don't pay attention closely, but it was like a week ago, maybe. You made an announcement. We used to do something at Flip Hacking Live, and then we stopped doing it. We went away from it. And what that was is, years ago, you would have someone presenting on stage, and then later that night in the evening, we would do roundtables where you could like hear the presentation, and then you could go and actually sit down with the person and dig in a little deeper and get a little more specific about certain questions you might have, or maybe your situation. And we went away from that for a while, and you're bringing that back. So when you're there and you're watching people on stage and they're talking and they're just giving you all this info, it's a lot of information, but a lot of information a lot of times will create more questions for you, specific questions in your head. And so now at this one, you're going to be able to sit down with that person in the evening of that first night and really dig in and ask more in-depth and specific questions to what you have in your head, which is, it's really, really cool. It makes for a super long day for some of the speakers, but it's really, really valuable to the people that are attending, that listen and go, that was awesome. That blew my mind. I just have I have one more question. I have one question. And in the past, there were years where it was not super easy to get that answered by that person. But now there's going to be roundtables, and you can sit down and have a more in-depth conversations. So very, very cool. And so speaking of the speakers, what are some of the topics? What can people expect to hear, and what can they expect to be taught when they come to this event?
Yeah. Just to piggyback off the roundtables a little bit quickly, it's not just like 30 minutes or 45 minutes that Thursday night. We actually have 3 hours set aside. The first hour and a half is for VIPs. So all of the people that get a VIP ticket will feed you in the evening, dinner and everything like that. But you'll have a solid hour and a half with those people before anybody else comes in.
Yeah.
And then the next hour and a half is the general admission hour and a half. So those speakers will be there for 3 hours answering questions. So depending on where you are, if you're a general admission ticket holder, then you can go to dinner and come back. You'll have an hour and a half. And it's not a huge group. Like, we don't have a massive a number of people coming. This is not thousands of people that come to this event. So you have the opportunity to go around to 25 different tables and find the person that you need to talk to for the thing that you need. It's really powerful. And we just couldn't figure out how to put it back into place. And so for 3 years, we haven't done it. This will be the first year we bring it back. So I'm excited about it. And I'm going to have a table there. Mike's going to have a table, and all the other speakers are as well. So, what did you ask me about? I forgot. Oh, speaker.
Well, before you say that, before you do that, let me talk about for a second about what I'm going to present on, and then you can talk about who else is talking, what they're going to say. So, like every year, Bill and I have conversations. What should I present on? What makes the most sense? What do people need? What do I feel like I'm particularly ready or qualified to talk about? So this year, what we've decided and what I'm excited to actually present, because I think it's going to be hugely beneficial to a lot of the folks there, is I'm going to talk about your first 6 months, like the blueprint of your business. What do you need to do? And maybe just as importantly, what do you not need to worry about in the first 6-8 months of your business? How do you build a business that actually is sustainable, has a great foundation, and is built for success? And because a lot of people will go to an event like this and they'll get tons of information. It's like, I don't know what to do with all this. I don't even know how to assemble it. I don't know what I should do first. I don't know what maybe isn't important for me right now, but it will be in 6 months or a year. And so my presentation is going to be all about, how do you actually execute in those first 6 months? What do you do? And frankly, if you're an investor who has some experience, you've done this, you're not new to it, my guess is, because I've talked to enough of you folks too, there are gaps in your game. There are things that you're not doing that you probably should be doing. And there's probably things that you're focusing on that are not a huge benefit to you right now. So, but those first 6 months, like, how do I actually start, build, and grow my business for speed? Because I'm not, I don't have a lot of patience personally. I like things to get done as quickly as possible. Let's get to A to B as fast as possible. So this is going to be about how to do that, not how to build a business that will get you where you want to be in 10 years, but how do we build a business that's going to get you where you want to be in the first 6 to 12 months maximum? That's the goal for this. And I think I've got a great presentation lined up for you guys.
Yeah, I'm excited about that one. So that is, that's kind of like mid-session. So about midway through the event, if you think about how we structure the event, I really want to take you on this journey of real estate investing. So where do you need to start? And the kind of kickoff of this event is going to be designed around the market. So what's the state of the market? And to tell you what the vision for this event is, so a lot of people are like, well, I'm going to spend this money. I'm going to get this time, take this time away from my family. I'm going to go travel to Orlando, go through all of this. What am I going to get out of this? And ultimately, the whole idea here is what's working now. So we want to tell you what's working now in our businesses. So everybody that comes up on stage is running at least multiple 6-figure, if not 7-figure plus business. Probably the biggest player, it just said he's over 8 million Canadian, which is probably somewhere around 6 million a year US, which is amazing. And so amazing speakers that are doing a lot of volume, but what's working now for them and sharing all of those goods. And then what's working next? Like, what's the plan for what's coming? So what is some of the things that they're thinking about in their business to kind of project for you that if the next time you hear them isn't for another year, well, what are some of the things that they're thinking about doing based on the market changes or personnel or different strategies that they have, things like that. So that's the concept. And that's what I've given all the speakers to do, is to try to start forecasting a little bit of where they're going to be in a few months to help you guys along your way of whether you agree with them or disagree with them. So one of the first presentations that we have is one that I'm probably most excited about. It's Terry Berger, and he's going to do a state of the market presentation. So what's happening right now in the market and what does he think is going to happen? I'm actually asking him to give a prediction of where we're going to go based on who he is and his knowledge and his background. And then what I did was I reached out to a good friend of mine, Ryan Smith, who runs a marketing company for hundreds of real estate investors all around the country, who has the pulse on lots of different marketing channels and things like that. And I said, look, I want you and Terry to work together so that when he projects what he thinks is going to happen, you can teach us what kind of marketing you would do to those people if that happens. So those two presentations, I think right there are probably what I'm most excited about, other than yours, of course, Mike. But
Exactly.
those two are really going to play off well on each other, where Terry says, this is what's happening right now in the market. Here's where I think it's potentially going. A couple different options, right? These kind of choose your own adventure type things of where you agree or disagree. What do you think is going to happen? And then Ryan come in and say, if that happens, then I would do this. If that happens, then I would do this. And here's where I would look. This is the kind of list that I would pull. This is the kind of message I would send. This is the kind of marketing I would put together to them. So that's the challenge that I gave the two of them, which I think is going to be like an amazing combo presentation that I don't know that I've shared that in as much detail as I just have yet. That right there is hands down worth 10 times the ticket price, the travel, the hotel, all that stuff. Like that is going to be unbelievable. And then we'll go on for the day, that first day, to talk about marketing and leads and driving traffic, right? You need traffic, you need phone calls, you need inbound leads, you need deals. So how do we figure out how to make more offers? We got to back it up to the marketing that we send. And we've got somebody talking about cold calling. We've got somebody talking about driving for dollars. So I gave a challenge to our members of who has the lowest cost per deal. His cost per deal is like $400. So cost per deal, not a cost per lead,
right?
Like cost per lead in the hundreds right now. His cost per deal is like $400. So, and I'm not talking about he's doing like one a month like that, doing like 40 or 50 a year like that. So that's a business that's very easily scalable, can bring in manpower and still make the owner a lot of money. So, and without a lot of upfront capital. So he doesn't put a lot of money out to get those leads. So, because I know a lot of people don't have a ton of money right now and they want to continue to market, they want to figure it out. So he's going to give his entire system on how he uses his driving for dollar system and set it up so you can just plug and play in your business. And then we're also going to talk about another one that's an entirely free channel, which is networking. How do you get more deals through networking? And I've got somebody who he's coming to talk about a presentation that he saw at Flip Hacking Live, how he implemented it in his business and what he does to execute a bunch of deals in a very expensive market of San Diego through networking. So those are three of the marketing presentations that we have. Andy McFarland has, you've likely heard his name before. He was my mentor, one of Mike's mentors, coming into seven figure flipping for sure. That Mike said, I thought it was kind of funny. Mike said that they were the big dogs doing one or two deals per month at that first meeting in January 2016. Andy and Justin were the two that were running seven figure businesses already, doing a bunch of deals. But it's so funny to hear and remember that one or two deals a month was like the biggest person in that room. And to see what it is now, where we have people doing like 200, 300, 400 deals a year, it's crazy. You come in doing one or two deals a month, you're probably the smallest fish in there instead of the big fish. So it's come a long way. So it's really incredible to see that and think back on it. But Andy's going to talk about how he's come and built a business that lasts. So he's been running a business with a team for the last 10 years. So he's going to talk about how he does that, how he's run a profitable business for 10 years with a big team. Because a lot of people think that you have to do it all if you want to keep a lot of profit. How do you make a sustainable business, something that lasts and not just a flash in the pan? So we can talk about that. We've got presentations all the way from team health. So like, how do you build a culture in your team, to hiring? So either hiring your first person or your next person, exactly how to do it. We've been hiring at Seven Figure Flipping for the past year, pretty heavy. We probably went from 15 to 25 people this year. And we've had some times where it's really easy to hire. And recently we've had times where it's really challenging to hire. So exactly what did we learn? How did we do it? We're going to give you that information. We're going to have a sales presentation. So negotiating and getting the best deal on houses. We'll have a lead intake presentation about how do you nurture those leads? How do you set the right appointments to be able to even make those offers? And what do you say? How do you say it? And different objections to cover and things like that. We have, we've got we got dispositions.
Yeah, I was going to say, for the wholesalers out there, we do have somebody who's going to present on dispositions, which is cool. Yeah,
and this just happens to be the guy who's doing $8 million a year in Canada.
Yeah.
So he's going to talk about how he gets more money for his deals and what he did to nurture that, build that. And when I say they're going to give their system, I've talked to every one of these people individually, and I said, look, you've got to give the entire thing, like the entire framework of exactly what you do and how you do it, so that the people that are listening can take this information and then decide exactly what they're going to do in their market or their business and how it fits. So maybe I want to like take this little piece out and plug my special sauce in there, like my way to do it, and just kind of like look at the entire thing and not just get like just the front half or just the back half of the process. So the entire process. And so he's going to talk about how he gets more money for his deals. And here's the exact language. I have it written down here: how to sell your contracts for more money than every other wholesaler so you can make higher offers to sellers and win more deals. So that's one. And then for those of you that are flippers that are listening potentially and are like, well, it sounds very wholesale intensive. We have somebody who's also going to talk about how they do more deals as a flipper by partnering with the sellers. So a creative way that they found to partner with the sellers where they don't have to come out of pocket. And this is not, oh, of course, I've heard of sub two. I've heard of some other things. This is a very creative strategy that I don't know a lot of other people that are doing, that he's able to pay a little bit more and buy more houses that he wouldn't be able to normally afford, because right now in today's market, people are asking astronomical prices for their house, which we would all agree. So he's got a way, which I think is really ninja, that he's able to partner with that seller without a lot of risk from his part, with a lot of upside on the back end. Nice. So he's going to share all of it. I've talked to him about it. He's like, I can talk about this or this. And I was like, tell me more about this strategy that you're partnering with sellers. He told me about it. And I was like, man, I think that people out there could buy at least 4 or 5 more houses a year just by using something like this that they couldn't normally do right now. So that's another one. Tyler Jensen, the guy who's flipping houses in like 5 days. It's absolutely insane. He's going to talk about how to be more profitable as a business owner. He's going to show his numbers, top line, bottom line, costs, and really dive into the financials of a business. He was a COO for a while, run a bunch of financial backgrounds for companies and things like that in the past before flipping houses. And so he's really smart on the financial side of things. And he's going to share how you can be more profitable, whether you're a solopreneur, like just one man, one woman show, or you're running a bigger company. And that right there, your bottom line is what it's all about. So he's going to do that. That's about half of the speakers that we have. I'm going to give a couple presentations. We've got a couple that I'm kind of holding close to my chest and not really sharing, because I think it's going to be really cool to get there and have this. And I like to have a few surprises up my sleeve when you get there and you don't expect a couple things. Yeah.
I mean, you literally have covered everything anybody would need to know to run a business, honestly: sales, marketing, dispositions, cash flow, building a team, hiring, culture, like all of that, right? And I just want to dial back for a second. You mentioned Andy. Andy probably won't listen to this, but he hates it when we just talk about him and brag about him. But you're right. He was your mentor. He was my mentor. I pretty much, the vast majority of what I know and what I was able to do early on is directly attributed to him. Like he's amazing. Like if you could go there and that's all we gave you was Andy at a round table and a presentation, you've way underpaid for it. So I can't say enough about the guy. I love him, and nothing but respect. He is the godfather of all of us, basically. Running a super successful, and in times of COVID and market fluctuation, all this craziness, and people are struggling and they're boom and bust and highs and lows and peaks and valleys. It's like Andy just continuously sort of steadily goes up. Like he just keeps doing a little better and a little better and a little, nothing seems to really knock him off of his lane. Just a tremendously successful investor and a super great guy. So that's a real treat to be able to talk to him. So let's talk a little bit about, you mentioned how you put this together. Like when this is over with, like, what do you hope people walk away with? Like, what is it that they should expect to take away from this entire 3-day event, like at a high level, right? We just talked about some of the specifics, but what do you hope people, the feeling and what do they get out of this for 3 days?
Yeah, I think there's 3 things. I think there's the tangible and the intangible primarily. So of these 3 things, there's probably one is and it's not to be overlooked. It is probably the most important thing, but it's just it's belief. Like that's it. That a successful investor and unsuccessful investor, the difference is belief. Like one believes in themselves and that it's possible. The other one is questioning their ability, they can't do it, the belief in themselves and this business, frankly. So you will see social proof, and a lot of it, that it's possible. And what I love about real estate is it does not discriminate. It doesn't matter how old you are or how young you are. It doesn't matter the color of your skin, whether you're a man or a woman. None of that matters. It does not matter. Anybody can make money in this business that applies themselves, put in the time, the effort, the energy, all that stuff. And it does not discriminate. I've seen people who are complete introverts. I've seen people who are massive extroverts. I've seen all different types of personalities. I've seen all different types of races, ethnicities, sex. Like, it doesn't matter. It's so cool to see that. I think that I know who's going to be successful and who doesn't. And just when I think that I can figure out crack the code on it, sure enough, I'm wrong. Yeah. So it's going to give you the belief that you need to go forward. And the second one is it's going to give you the tactics, like the things that you need. And you're not going to be able to take all of this and implement it on day one. And I'll talk to that a bit at the event for sure. But it's going to give you that thing, that aha, that system, that marketing channel, that conversation that you had, whatever it is that you're looking for right now. And if you knew what you needed, you would already be doing it. So if you think that if you're listening to this, you're like, you know what, I got it all wired, I got it figured out. That's one problem, right? Exactly. And when you come to this event, like you don't know, and you don't know what speaker is going to talk to you, what process is going to be like a huge light bulb for you and go off. And that's why we put on this event. That's why you should go to these events, this one and others. Like, you should just absorb all of this information, because when I go to these things, it's just like that one thing that I need that puts an extra zero on the bottom line of my business, And once you have a bunch of zeros, that extra zero gets really, really big. So that's the second thing. And I think, when you get to these kind of like tangibles and intangibles, the other thing that you're going to get is you're going to get like, just like Mike said, kind of this roadmap. I talked about belief, this mindset change, but really what you're going to get is motivation. And a lot of people will kind of overlook that, or this event is going to be all motivational. You've been to events where you're like, oh yeah, I mean, it's a big hype fest. There's not a lot of content. Well, what my goal is to give you 80 to 85% content and about 15% to 20% motivation, because without motivation, there's nothing driving us. Like, we should constantly be motivated. That's why we read books. That's why we listen to podcasts. That's why we do all these things, is because if you're just sitting there listening to it and be like, oh, good for that guy, like, he's got a great business, they got a great system. No, you're looking for something to push you beyond your limits, beyond your boundaries, or you wouldn't listen to this kind of stuff. You wouldn't be listening to this podcast right now. So those are the three things that I think it gives you: is belief that you can do it, the concepts and content and material, and the actual like tactics and tips and techniques and secrets that you need, and then motivation to go out there and do it. And you need that motivation on a regular basis. And that's where we're lacking a lot of times. If this is just a once a year thing for you, that's why you're not successful. Because you need that kick in the butt. We all do. I do all the time. You need that motivation. And this is going to give you a heavy dose of it. I'll tell you that. Totally. So I've got one speaker that comes, he's been for a couple of years, and he will give you a dose of motivation. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, I won't ruin it. I know who you're talking about, and you're absolutely right. I've heard him speak now, 2 or 3 times, and every time he speaks, I'm ready to just run through a wall. Like, he's amazing. But I think sometimes if people haven't gone to an event like this, I think the hesitation is you go to a local RIA, for example, and there's somebody there who's maybe giving you motivation, or there's somebody talking about how they do things in their business, but they keep a lot close to the chest because they're local to you. And it's like this kind of small bubble of people who are maybe a little afraid, have a limiting mindset. They don't want to give away all the secrets of what they're doing in their business, so they keep a lot of it close to the vest. This is not that. This is a bunch of people from around the country who are just like, I don't even care. Like, nobody on stage feels like they all have the abundance mindset, right? They don't feel like if they tell you what they're doing in their business and you start making money, that's coming out of their profits somehow, right? Like, it's weird how people do think that sometimes, but all the speakers there are like, yeah, I'll just give you whatever. Like, I'm just going to give you everything. And I know for a fact, because you did it to me, you're asking everyone to give something of super high value in addition to what they're presenting. Like, what thing can they also kind of put with their presentation to give out to everyone. That's a very high value. And I won't give that away, but everyone's giving away something that, again, is worth the price of admission pretty much. So let's say it again. I'll let you do it this time, Bill. When is it? Where is it? How do they get tickets? What can they do?
Yeah, it's in Orlando, Florida. It's in about a month, October 14th, 15th, and 16th. We have an awesome rate at the hotel. The hotel is a giant resort. There's a lazy river. There's places for kids to go to hang out, all that stuff. They have a golf course, mini golf, wave pool. It's amazing. A bunch of restaurants. It is a all-inclusive, like locational type resort. And when I say all-inclusive, it doesn't mean like you get all your food too, but it's like one place that you can go with restaurant and all that stuff. And you can go to fliphackinglive.com and grab your tickets. And, I'd like to do something for your listeners. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be great. Matter of fact, I already twisted your arm, so I know you're going to, but guys, listen, this is not, if you think this is just like Bill's going to go on 5 other podcasts today and give this out, you're wrong. This is a friends and family situation. Let's just put it that way.
It is. And Mike and I talked before the show a little bit, like, what can we do? I've been on the podcast quite a few times. Mike's a member of the board of directors, obviously. And you know what? I haven't really done hardly any podcasts this year. Actually, I've done none other than mine. And last year I was on like a circuit, it felt like, and just running all the time. And this year I said, you know what? The people that really love this event and that we're concerned, and I'm not going to go really huge. So Mike talked me into basically doing the best that I can for you guys. So we'll create a coupon code for you guys. So when you go to get your ticket, you go to fliphackinglive.com, go get your ticket, put your information in, and then it'll take you to a page where you can add a link, basically like a code. And if you have any questions, you can email us directly. The information's on the website. And if you have questions, it's not showing up or something like that, or you can't find it, just let us know. But if you put in START, START. So this podcast is just start, right? So put in START, and we'll give you the best opportunity, the best offer that we have at the time. So we'll do a best rate for you guys. And it will be a great rate. It'll be good. Let's put it that way. So we'll keep the price reasonable for you guys, and we'll take care of you if you want to come. So fliphackinglive.com, use the coupon code START, and then we'll know you're one of Mike's listeners. We'll take care of you. And Mike mentioned that some of the other speakers are giving away things. So we have everything from Andy did 4-hour seller finance training that he charged $10,000 for the event to come to the event, and that he recorded. We have those recordings that Andy gave. We have job ads that Becca gave. We have video trainings from Ryan Smith. We have a book from one of the guys, a PDF version of his book. I mean, we have everything. Every single speaker that's come on my podcast, I've twisted their arm to give something. So videos, trainings, all that stuff. Yeah. And I gave away the last 5 years of recordings from Flip Hacking Live. So all in a membership site, you'll have a login, you'll have a portal. You can use all that stuff to get prepared for the event, listen to previous trainings and stuff like that. So you can go to fliphackinglive.com and just put in START.
Love it. All right, guys, no excuse if you at all care about growing your business or creating a different life than what you have right now, or a different situation. If you want freedom of time, freedom of money, if you just aren't happy with the way things are going in your professional life, and you want to really supercharge and really take control of of your business and in your life, this is the opportunity. This is the time to do it. There's really no good excuses, so I don't want to hear them. Go and grab your tickets now. Like he said, you're getting a special rate because you're a listener of mine. That's no BS. You are actually getting a special rate. So go grab them. Bill, thanks for doing this, man. I appreciate your time. I know you're super busy. You've been just creating and planning this event for a long time, and it's going to be epic. So I can't wait to see you there in about a month.
Yeah, me too. And if you guys are there, I'm going to have a roundtable. I want to meet you. I want to hear that you're a podcast listener. So once you spend like 2 hours with Mike, come over to mine for like 5 minutes and say hi.
And by the way, go check out the 7-Figure Flipping podcast. But when you go sit down at Bill's roundtable, tell him you heard him on this podcast. I always like him to know that all of his fans come from here. So anyways, all right, man. I appreciate it. Go and take care of business. I know you got a lot going on. I appreciate this, and I'm looking forward to seeing you, brother.
Me too. See ya.
All right, man. Bye. All right, that was a lot of fun for me. Bill is a good friend of mine. It's fun to have him on the show, and he is absolutely one of the most knowledgeable real estate investors I have ever met, and he's not even been in the game that long. He's just an explosive personality, very, very much a winner, and he's somebody you should be paying attention to. If you aren't planning on going to Flip Hacking Live, I think you're making a huge mistake. You should go and check it out, and you can go to fliphackinglive.com and put in the coupon code START to get a very special pricing. So go do that. Go check it out. I think it'll be more than worth your time. I think you owe it to yourself and you owe it to your business to take the steps necessary to have success. After all, why are we doing this if we're not trying to be successful? Go check it out. I think that you will be very glad you did. All right, we'll see you next time.